I'm Tim and I'm with the Minstead Trust, and I've come to a very quiet and peaceful place in Furzey Gardens at the top of the hill that leads up from the play area, where we have this figure of Christ on the cross, Jesus on the cross. Not the sort of thing you'd necessarily expect to come across in a garden. We're not a religious institution, we're a trust here for a particular purpose that comes close to issues of life and of death. The families of people, vulnerable people and people with learning disabilities and difficulties often have very hard, challenging times, particularly in the early days, when it's so hard to see how good may be brought out of something that's come upon them so unexpectedly, rather like the coronavirus has come upon us so unexpectedly. I hope that you have not had a tragic experience of coronavirus. In general terms, people have been well, but it's a reminder to us, isn't it, both of the fragility of life and the everyday life that we so often take for granted, and also of the precious nature of this life. Human and all created life is so precious. If you are watching this with a Christian background, you will know what it's all about, seeing Jesus on the cross. But it speaks very widely to people of all faiths and none. For some people it is an offence. It is an offensive thing to see a person executed on a cross. So how has that changed from being an offence to being a sign of peace and a sign of hope? Well, you will almost certainly know the story of the resurrection and life coming out of death. But you don't have to know anything about this, because it's got a mysterious power all of its own. And what we find is that people are drawn to this place because it touches something deep inside them. This place of the cross. Mahatma Gandhi was a Hindu, person of a different faith. When he was murdered, after a lifetime of care and service for vulnerable people of his own nation, all around the world, his people, his followers, wanted a sign to put up on a poster commemorating him. And the sign that they chose was this. It was the sign of Jesus on the cross. All over the world were the pictures of Gandhi in Indian places, in Africa and Asia and elsewhere, and there was the cross in the background. And that's how it is here at Furzey Gardens. It's in the background. And yet it represents something very special for us. We put this here nearly 50 years ago as one of our first acts in restoring the gardens, because it says something very special about our mission. It's not an evangelical mission. A lot of the time it's not even a Christian mission. It's a mission of love and care shared between those who are often not counted as valuable by a world that so often is focused upon wealth and power, but for whom life can be changed. Life overcoming death. The world turned upside down so that social justice comes to those in need, and the wealthy and the powerful do not have the last word. The last word, says Jesus, comes to those who are last because they shall be first. And so we in the Minstead Trust are in the business of putting those people who otherwise might come last first. Farewell.